Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So next is a chapter 8, which is 8.2. We have done for the 8.1, which is introduction to database. Now we go to the subtopic 8.2, which is the basic concept of database. So for this 8.2 subtopic, which is we explain the basic concept of database, right? Okay, first of all, you must know what is the data hierarchy, which is a field, record, and table, the entity relationship, the data type, and also the data dictionary. So this is about the data hierarchy in the database, which is all the access to data, which is starts at the top of the hierarchy, okay, and move to the downwards, okay. So we start with the bits, okay, this small unit, okay, and then the second step, the second hierarchy, which is the characters, okay, and move to the field, column, row, the table, and the database, okay, which is, for example, from the customer to the orders, okay, from customer to the orders, from the vendor to the purchase, okay, right. So what is a hierarchy? What is a character? Okay, a character is a one byte, which is contain the numbers, the letters, the space, the punctuation marks, or the other symbol. Okay, a field is a combination of one or more related of the character. Okay, which is, for example, like field name, field size, okay, data type. Okay, for example, like a student ID. Okay, that is a field name. For example, like first name. Okay, address, city, state. So that is example of field name. Okay, field size is actually based from the field name. For example, if your field name is student name, okay, you can setting the field size 10 or 20. Okay, the data type is actually based from the field name. For example, if your field name is the student name, so the data type must be a text. Okay, if your field name is date of birth, okay, so your data type must be date or time. Okay, so later we will discuss this about the detail. Okay, when you start develop database in Access, so you can understand, okay, what is the meaning of the data type, field size, and also data type and also the field name, right? Okay, field and record. So this is a table of the records, okay, a record which is contained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 field name, which is a friend ID, name, address, phone numbers, and date of birth. So they have 5 field name. Okay, so in the 5 field name, this is a record, a group of records, okay, which is have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 record. Okay, 10 record dalam ni. So 10 record, each of one is from Ashraf, from a record of Amina, record from Ashraf, Ibrahim, okay, Chang Teng, okay, and so on. So kalau you nampak nama dia berulang, record ni berulang, okay, sebenarnya tak ada masalah. Okay, so so it depends on the record actually, okay. So this is what we call the table with the field and records. Okay, so date of birth, okay. So each of the record they have 1, 2, 3, ada 10. They have 10 records, which is have 5 field name. Okay, data is actually, for example, like Ku Shamsina, the name, okay, itu data lah. Okay, data. Okay, entity. So sebenarnya bila when we create a database, which is a database contain many object. Okay, and of course in the database we have the table, which is they are related to each other. For example, a table which is for example, you create one database, okay, a database of business, let's say you have the business company and you have to create one database, and in the database you have to include the information about the students and the customers, and also the orders, okay, pembelian dan juga maklumat tentang customer. Okay, jadi dua table ni, these two table they have related to each others. Okay, because each time the customer buy the products, okay, they record the orders, okay, record the orders from the another table. Alright, so this is what we call the entity relationship, because each of the table we can relate to each other. Okay, so after this we discuss detail about the what is the object in database. Okay, because I already explain about the mention about the table. Table, so table is actually one of the object in database. Ada 4. Okay, kita ada 4 objek, okay, dalam database, tapi saya sentuh pasal table. So dalam database, in the database we can create more than one table. We can create more than one table. Okay, because when we create more than one table, which means we can insert the entity relationship, because they are connected to each others. Okay, for example, you create one database of Tamhidi database. So in the Tamhidi database, we have a table of the teachers, a table of the students, a table of the topic or the subject. So each of the table, they contain the field name. Okay, so for example, the table of the teachers, the field name is about is the staff number, the name of the teachers, okay, the telephone number of the teachers. Okay, so that is the field name for the table teachers. Okay, another table student, for example, which is contain the field name, which is the student ID, student name, the address, the IC number. So that is the field name for the table of the student. Okay, another table which is for example table of the subjects. Okay, so there are many subjects in Tamhidi, so we have to include, first thing is the ID of the subject. Okay, and then the field name, another one field name is the subject name. Okay, the code subject and so on. So that is the field name for the subject table. So meaning that in one database we can create more than one table. Okay, so in what I explained just now, we have about 3 table in one database. Okay, which is teachers, which is students, and also subject. Okay, so these table, they are related to each others. Okay, they are connect to the table. For example, the teachers table connect to the student table, and connect to the relation to the, they have relation to the subject. Okay, so that is the simple explanation about the relationship, okay, in the table. Right? Okay, so this is example. This is example, which is each of the table, they are connect. Okay, what I mean is, for example, they in the one database we can create more than one table. For example, in this, if you refer to this slide, we have the table of the students, we have the table of the student schedule, and also we have the table of the classes. So each of the table, they are connect to the they have connect, or they have relation to each of the table, right? So for the students, 6001, okay, the ID student, which is the connect to the, ataupun the link to the table of the student schedule. Okay, alright, and the schedule also link to the classes, okay, table. Okay, so this is what we call the entity relationship. Okay, alright, and also this one example. Okay, when we create a table, okay, a query, so we can use this one. This is what we call the entity relationship. We can create this is one to many, many to one. Okay, for example, okay, so we discuss detail about the entity relationship when we start topic next week. Okay, the how when we develop database in Access, using Access. Okay, the common type of data type, which is include the text, numeric, auto number, currency, date, memo, and also yes or no. Okay, so this is an example of data type. So when we start using the Access next week, you can see the in the Access. Okay, so when we create the database in Access, you can see, you can understand what is the data type. Okay, so data type is actually the type of the field name. For example, if the field name is student ID, you can choose auto number or a number. Okay, normally for the table, the first column must be a primary key. Okay, primary key is actually the unique number. Okay, I discussed about primary key. So a primary key is a field that uniquely identify the each record in a file. Okay, so don't worry about the primary key because when we create a database, okay, in Access, when we create database and we create a table and we insert the field name in the table, so they automatic identify the primary key for each of the uh, field name. Okay, normally the primary key is the first column in table, okay, which is for example like student ID, uh, uh, matric number, okay. So this field name is we give the name. Okay, bebas, nama ni bebas, kita letak nama apa pun for the ID, for the field name. Okay, but the first record dalam record, setiap record dalam setiap record, each of the record in the first column must be the ID or a number. Okay, alright. Okay, primary key. Okay, this is example of primary key. For example, like if you create a table, a customer table, the first column must be a customer ID ataupun customer number. Ikut you all lah nak letak nama apa pun. Tapi the first field name mesti letak customer ID ataupun customer number. Okay, alright. Okay. So biasanya dalam primary key ni lah dia automatic dia akan ada gambar kunci, dia ada macam icon kunci tepi tu. So this is the table for the query dalam query tu. Okay, kita boleh, when we create query, kita boleh ambil daripada table yang kita create tu. So in the table of query, in the query we can insert all this field name. Okay, and the field name is actually they already have the primary key so kita boleh buat dalam query lah, right? A record is a group of the related field. Okay, once you have create a table, so you have to insert the record. So let's say you create one database. Okay, let's say the name of database is student database. So in the student database contain a group of the students, the information about the group of the students. So what kind of the what is the group of the student information? For example, like the student name, the student ID, okay, the address, the IC number, the telephone number, the phone number, okay, the state, right? So that is the field name for the information, okay. So when you create a database, which is a database student and also a table, you create a one table contain the records. Okay, so the record is actually let's say in the table we have 10 students. Okay, so meaning that 10 records. Okay, so in the table needs 10 record. So 10 records means that 10 record of the students, which contain the student ID, the student name, the IC number, the address. Okay, so that is the meaning of record. So let's say a group of the patient. Okay, a group of the patient, which is about 100 patients. So meaning that they have about 100 record of the patient. Okay, so that is a record. A data file is a collection of related records. Okay, so if you look at this slide, which is contain the field. Okay, this is a field which is address, city, state, postcode, okay, email address, date, emitted, major, and photo. So this is what we call the field name. Okay, the field. Okay, so here we have the field. So and we have four record. Okay, 4 record. So 1, 2, 3, 4 record in the table. So this is a table. The table here contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 field name, which is address, city, state, and so on. Which is in the table we have 4 records. So that is the meaning of record. Okay. Okay, primary key is uniquely identify each record. Okay, is must unique. Okay, each of the record must have unique numbers, unique ID. Okay, for example, if you create a table of students, okay, so let's say in the table of the student have about 20 student or 20 records. So each of the record must have a different student ID. Okay, so this is what we call the primary key.